The practice becomes in daily life to, as much as possible, live from that dimension. For example, now there are countless examples one could give. Very simple things, like I recommend, for example, whenever you are waiting for something at the elevator, or you're in the elevator, or you're waiting for a phone call, or you're waiting in line somewhere at the airport, you're waiting. There's quite a bit of time we spend waiting. Traffic lights, you're waiting. Now these days, mostly people get out their phone when they're waiting, because this means there's continuously your mind is being cluttered more and more. I call it clutter. Clutter is useless information. They get out their phone. They don't know why. They get out their phone because somebody next to them is getting out their phone, and then they start switching around. There would be a moment whenever you're waiting, an opportunity to, in that moment, to declutter your mind and create a little bit of inner spaciousness, the kingdom of heaven, the dimension of spaciousness. For example, this is a very ancient and very simple method. By becoming aware that you are breathing, you're becoming, I call it, it's a mini meditation, one conscious breath, which is the in-breath, and you follow the breath with your attention. You feel it, the air moving into the body. You might even feel it even into your abdomen, the energy. And then you breathe out. And what does that do? Why is it so important? When you're aware of your breathing, you take attention away from thinking. You cannot be completely aware of your breathing and think at the same time. You can either think or be aware of your breathing. So that's a quick way of having a little bit of spaciousness in your life. One conscious breath, maybe two conscious breaths. Everybody has time for one or two conscious breaths from time to time during the day. Nobody is so busy that they cannot take 6, 7, or 8 seconds for although the mind might tell you, no, I have too much to do. It's a lie. Don't believe every thought that comes into your head. And then you create spaciousness. The more spaciousness you create, the more effective your thinking will be when you start thinking again. Because then thinking can link into this creative intelligence that is the unconditioned intelligence in you, and then it can be inspired by that. I would suggest every creative person who creates something really new had some access to that dimension in the area of their creative endeavor. Probably not in the rest of their lives. They may be as crazy as everybody else in the rest of their lives.
Right.
But when they engage in their act of creation, they have access to that dimension. And this is, once you touch this power within you, which is not egoic power, it's not power over somebody else, it's primordial, the power of life itself. When you can sense that within yourself, that becomes the basis for your sense of who you are, and no longer the story in your mind. And that's the shift. So you become free of having to completely identify with your past, deriving your sense of who you are from your historical past, which is, most people's past is just a very mixed bag, and there's a lot of it that you may not like. Instead of that, your sense of who you are comes from a deeper place, and that resolves all questions of what people are concerned with: self-esteem, self-confidence. People go to therapists to build up their self-esteem because it's not high enough. But once you touch that level of consciousness within yourself, self-esteem comes from there, but it's not comparative anymore. Then you can sense the power that dwells within you, and you don't need to compare yourself to somebody else and say, I'm powerful because I have more than this person. You know, in essence, every human has that, but most of them don't know it. But it's there as a seed, one could say, in every human being. It's so wonderful, this realization.